Hi guys, it's Mrs. Santiago here, and today we're going to be tackling the subject of public speaking. Public speaking is the next step in presentations. I did a lot of research before preparing this lesson for you. I've looked at multiple videos about the basics and skills of presentations. I even downloaded a whole book called The Art of Public Speaking by Stephen Lucas. And I'm going to try to bring all of that together into some easy points that you can remember. The first step is to prepare. You need to do all of the work prior to doing your presentation so that your presentation can be a success. Well, what does it mean to prepare? You need to know your subject. You should know your topic well enough that you don't need the notes that you've written. You should be able to talk about it comfortably and casually because you are the expert on that topic. You should be using clear and simple slides. We've talked about this a lot. You need to have slides that don't have clutter. There are no bullet points. Think about your color scheme. Think about the font that you've chosen. Make sure that you have contrast. Make sure that you've used images and graphics, and make sure that they relate to your topic. You need to practice, and then practice some more. You need to practice at home. You need to practice to yourself. You need to practice to your family. You need to practice with your dog. You should practice in the shower. You should be saying it on the bus. You need to practice, practice, practice. You need to plan. Okay, what do I mean? Well, think about English class and the hamburger. So you need to have a strong introduction for your presentation. You need to have it supported with details. And finally, you need to end with a memorable conclusion. Even though you're talking about something that you're comfortable with, the strong introduction will connect your audience to what you're doing. And even though on the visual I'm showing 3 details, you might have 4, 5, or 6 points that you're trying to make. Those are the details. The memorable conclusion is the thing that your audience walks away with. It's important. Remember, I don't want a clip art hamburger. I want a hamburger that looks like this. Something that's juicy and enticing and something that really makes me want to dig in and pay attention and walk away with that flavor. So think about this image. Is your presentation juicy? During the presentation. Well, during the presentation, it's important for you to have a good message, of course. But after your message, your behavior while you're speaking can enhance your message or it can help lose your message. So here are some key behaviors to think about. The first one is eye contact. You need to look at the audience. I know that certain people say look past the audience, look to the side. No, you need to look at the audience. For every one thought, you should be looking at one person. When you change thoughts, make eye contact with a new person. The second thing is, you need to be organized and concise. So don't ramble. You should have a plan and it should be in snackable pieces. Remember, we talked about how your pieces of information have to be something that your audience can grab onto. If it's too much information, it should have been a Word document. The third thing is gestures. Gestures can help you tell your story or emphasize your point, but you should be moving with purpose. Your hands shouldn't be flailing all over the place. We're not giving someone jazz hands. We're using gestures to help with our presentation. The fourth behavior would be to have confident posture. Confident posture means that even though the picture here shows a podium, and a podium is a good thing when you need to stand behind it to stay straight, but really you shouldn't need a podium. You shouldn't be too stiff. You shouldn't be too relaxed. You should be in a natural stance. You need to connect with your audience, not separate yourself from the audience. That's why I like no podium. And remember, part of your confidence posture will also be the way you dress. You need to dress to impress. Your body language will reflect your outfit. If you come in to do your presentation and you're in shorts and a t-shirt or sweatpants and it looks like you're cleaning out your garage, then you're probably not going to give a professional presentation. So keep that in mind. Dress professional to act professional. The fifth thing is to think about your voice. Your voice is your tool, and you need to keep your voice loud, clear, and steady. Most important, your voice should show your confidence in your topic. Use your voice to emphasize and use a natural pace for what you're talking about. And the last thing is props. Props are items that you can use to engage your audience. They could be something that's connecting visually to your slide or to your message overall. Speaking of audience is probably the most important thing to think about. You have to remember that you're there to give to your audience, not to get from them. What do I mean? Well, you're there to inspire, entertain, persuade, or inform. And the moment that you start adding in your email address, your Instagram account, your Facebook page, you're really looking to sell something then and get something from then. Most people that are successful with public speaking, they're there just to give to the audience. So keep that in mind. There's two important things that we want to talk about. You need to engage your audience and you need to connect with them. Well, what does that mean? You should be using the first minute of your speech or presentation to connect with your audience. You might use a prop or a story. You want to even get them moving. Perhaps you want to ask them a question. Think about it as a hook. How are you going to hook the reader? How are you going to hook your audience? It's with the introduction. You might want to use humor. Now, here I've used visual humor. I popped in a slide that makes you laugh. It breaks up the monotony. It's something that you can visually see and makes you think of other things, and maybe the people in the audience laugh a little. You might want to tell a joke. You might want to ask a question. You might even want to do the raise your hand if this is true for you. Engage the audience. The second thing to think about is always your visuals. Make sure that the pictures are things that your audience can relate to. If you are giving data, make sure that you do it in a graphic way so that it's easy to understand. You need to point things out for them and connect the dots. You're the expert on the topic, not them. Sometimes you can even use visuals to surprise your audience and give that element that they're not expecting. For example, you might want to use a visual like this. Whoa. Hopefully they react to that. I think the third most important thing about connecting and engaging with your audience is to remember to be yourself. You don't need to pretend to be anybody else. You just need to talk, dress, and have a stance that is you. Just be real, and that will help you connect to the audience. I think it's important for you to be like this little girl and be genuinely enthusiastic about what you're talking about. People will listen to what you're saying and they will remember the points that you made. You can do it. Public speaking might take a little bit of practice and a couple of times for you to get comfortable, but you can do it. Public speaking is important not only for school, it's important as you move forward in any career. You're going to be public speaking, whether it's in front of a colleague, a group of people, or a large audience. Who knows? Someday you could be doing the next TED Talk.